I haven't shown you my cup for a while. Oops. Or my tray. I had a late cup of tea, so probably, well, caffeine levels will be quite high. But I think I'll still sleep alright. It's the 9th of March 23 at the home address. And conditions have changed dramatically in just a few hours. And a quick thought about, well, I didn't go any hill walking today. I had things to attend to. And, well, there's not much fun up the tops when it's this cold, believe me. Even at, well, up in Ben Honsu, for example, it would probably be down to about minus, or anything from minus 15 to minus 20 in that wind. So it doesn't take long to freeze to death. But, well, I was thinking there as well, I was just glanced out the back door, there's some snow lying around. And I was just thinking about that chap I met on the border of Ben Honsu last week there. I was telling him not to put the crampons away, and he was probably sitting with his mates saying, you know, this chap I met up the hills was telling me there's going to be more snow, and I looked at him as if he was off his fucking head. But he's right. And this is, you'll probably tell him as well, this is the same guy that was telling me at Ben Alder Cottage when he had lost his way in the pitch dark, and well, he knew where he was going, but just couldn't locate the cottage until he told me that somebody illuminated the window with a lit candle. So his friends are probably sitting and would love to meet this guy. Well, I'm normally quite modest, but I'm normally 99.99% correct about things I say as well. And I still ruin the day that I didn't put money on that Argentina-France final for the World Cup, after telling somebody on the very first day, or the second day of the World Cup, that Argentina will win, and they'll be in the final with France. And all they said was, "Do you think?" I says, "I know." But that aside, I've just been sitting here. I've got a lot of stuff to load on the computer, but I think I'm kind of saying to you, the Balnacool Castle one yesterday, there was I was sitting there early, well, yeah, before 9 o'clock this morning, and I thought, well, is this really of any interest to anybody? Let's just jazz it up a little and finish it off quicker than I thought. I glanced, I thought it was 15 minutes long. It turns out to be less than 7 minutes, so something had gone a little pear-shaped in some sort of, I don't know what, but I'm sure I've made it longer than that. Something's been edited out, I'm sure. I might put up the a more sensible parts, 3 or 4, just to cover the area and taking in the second summit. I don't know. I might do that. I'll see. But I'm just thinking as well, just how exponentially I've grown since I had my death experience last June, just opposite me there. And the more I've tried to work out what happened, well, I know the catalyst for it, but certainly you're probably looking at what you got all this wood for. Well, it's to make sure that it remains dry. And anyway, so I tried to think about everything, and I thought there was a catalyst, or let's say there was a trigger to the catalyst, but I can't remember the exact moment that I collapsed onto the couch and stayed there. So that's very concerning to some degree. But I remember I had to make that recovery, and as slow as the recovery was, it didn't feel like there was any recovery until the ageless woman at Almory presented herself. And then the girl next day. Although I thought to myself, well, you must have taken some action on your own, because you had gone west on several occasions, Ardnamurchan, and 3 attempts to get to Iona, and making your way up to Harris and Stornoway and all the in-betweens. So looking back, as I previously mentioned about the time of the full moon in Pisces back in September, and now the full moon in Virgo, this is the last evening of the full illuminated moon before it starts to wane. But and I think with the waning moon, I think we'll have a promise of probably some cruel weather for, I should say, until Easter. Yes, I think so. But I'm thinking also that the equinox is coming up, and equinox to Easter will be a time for genuine recovery. I'm almost sure for me. It's been a battle for many months in my heart and mind, and I felt somewhat weakened and somewhat pulled apart, and certainly with my condition that I'd mentioned often, which is primarily in the winter months, but not always. Even a dull day in the summer can affect my mood greatly, unfortunately. But taking the first steps onto the mountain with my boots was a great idea. I was very fearful because of the feelings of isolation, and if you're not in the right mindset, and you're feeling poorly, you might just want to sit around when you shouldn't be sitting around, and the elements can take control, and if you're sitting around for too long, you can become part of the elements. So I found the strength within my soul to begin my crusade back to proper health and proper mental well-being as best as possible. But there's obviously a lot of residue from the last many months, and that can impact on one's thoughts from time to time. But I try to remain as upbeat and jolly as possible. But my point of raising these issues is I've started to think along the lines that when I told you about the gurus and the shamans and stuff like that, the guru in Thailand, for example, who could do such marvelous work by, I mentioned before what he did, but my sisters, how many sisters I had, my mother's name, my age, and my present girlfriend's name, etc. And I thought, was he mind reading? But now I started to understand that once you ascend to a certain level, there's a whole new network comes into play. And you begin to see things that other people don't see, and hear things that other people can't hear, and think along things that other people don't think about. And on that journey to the level is, I noticed a lot of times when I would maybe mention to people something and they didn't know what I was talking about. And or they failed to observe something, or they were unsure of something which was factually correct. And I thought, so this is a stepping stone, so to speak. But the spiritual death which occurred was a whole new ball game. And I think it's imperative that at some stage I do chat with Up and Down, because I can't really put it on camera, because at the end of the day it's there's far too much to say. And I don't know if she'll even begin to understand or comprehend what the hell I'm talking about, because at the end of the day, if she's not even started her journey of ascension, then there's absolutely no way will she understand. She'll be in the same position as anyone else who is non-observant or not in a position to understand what I'm talking about. But in saying that, I know that she has all of the gifts and attributes. That's very clear, absolutely clear to me. However, I think with her, some of the actions that she's, some of her behavioural actions at least, I think she's been demoted. I think she's been demoted in the spiritual world. And she's lost rank, and she has to regain herself. And hopefully she could be able to bring herself back into power and get on the levels that she should be by now. Because clearly she definitely has a telepathic gift. Well, at least between us two she has. And I feel her energies often. Sometimes I ignore her energies. I'm quite open about that. If she's been, fouling me, or she's been fraught with me, for example. But I also thinking as well that just at the very moment that you get everything sort of worked out, and you're starting to see a very clear picture of this whole new dimension. And I mentioned a lot about glimpses of things into the past, or my ability to see the fairy folk when they present themselves and that sort of stuff. But what I mean is, when the whole tapestry of the new dimension is laid bare, and you think, well, I'm here, I've made it. It all starts all over again. And you feel like you're at a fresh new starting point in life. So the spiritual death element is almost like a death, and you're reborn. And it's very, very difficult to explain in many respects, but a lot of your memories are completely erased. A lot of things that you used to enjoy doing are completely uninteresting. a lot of the people you might have wished to continue to associate with become sadly less important. It's a very strange transition, and it's not altogether. Well, it doesn't feel altogether good, if you understand. It doesn't mean you're what you call a level above anyone. It doesn't mean you have to act aloof or anything. I mean, I joke about the low vibrational people and stuff like that because I stick by that. I don't think low vibrational people help themselves with the behaviours. But what I'm saying is that the whole thing has is complete change. It's a recognisable change, even to the fact that even possibly family members might not even recognise you. And so it's very strange, and I can't help thinking that Up and Down wasn't ready for the part of change which had already occurred within me. I don't think she was able to adjust. In some respects, I think she felt that she didn't recognise me either. And so therefore it was like we were both singing the same song, but at a different key, or a different tune was being played in the background piano. In a metaphoric sense, it was. Are we singing the same song? Are you sure? Oh yes, but possibly we weren't. And so I don't hold any particular grudges, for anything she's done. But except for what disturbs me is the barrage of the barrage. Everything was just a barrage, and it wasn't a barrage. It was a silence, and it's just not. It was very off-putting. Not just off-putting, I just found it very, it wasn't very brave, it was very, it just so off-putting, I just didn't like it. I just thought, I don't like this person for doing this. It's not who I thought she was. And so for the very same sentence, I'm possibly saying that I don't like this, but I wouldn't have liked it either, even if I had not, taken this slope upwards or made this final ascension to, well, not the final ascension, but the obvious ascension. And I can't tell you too much because I've said already, I feel that there has to be a bit of secrecy and privacy as to exactly what I'm talking about. I'll give you little snippets here and there, but I can't lay bare the whole situation, especially the journey it takes to get to where I am. It takes an immense amount of heartache and hardship and emotional heartache and heartbreak and tiresome days and frustration and despair and everything you could imagine. Betrayal. All this. And it's all part of the examination to see if you can pass the test. And it appears that in the early tests of this, I didn't pass. I didn't pass them at all in the first rounds. I didn't know what was going on, so I decided to stand at the public bar and or sit at the bar stool and consume copious amounts of alcohol while I tried to think of why the adjustment was taking place. I'm feeling very lonely and isolated in the journey, not understanding exactly what was going on. But having been through that process and realised that part didn't work, and then when this repeat cycle from up and down occurred again, for the umpteenth time, I thought, well, there has to be some test here. There must be something that I have to do in order to attain what is expected of me. So if it was meant for me to go straight back to the pub and drown my sorrows, then the cycle would just repeat again. We'd meet up and I'd go back to the pub and she'd go her way, and we'd split up for a decade or something like that and never see each other again, over and over and over again. But this time, I had to be strong. So when I had the spiritual death, although she was the trigger and the catalyst for it, I can't say that she was the one that put me down onto the couch that day. Because I just don't know. I'm sure it was, but I just can't say categorically, yes, it was. It may well have been a culmination of so many events and over so many years that was the final straw that broke the camel's back, and it was completely floored me and, sent me into spiritual death. But although I'd probably prefer to say, I realised quite entirely that a very strong spiritual bond had been broken, and a bond that had lasted more than one lifetime, probably several lifetimes, because of the ability to focus and chat and say, well, I remember the times in the Edwardian days, and I remember the times in Milan and Genoa and sailing to Alexandria and Egypt in 1962, and the times down in Saint Moritz and down in the French Riviera in 1968, zooming all around in that open-top Alfa Romeo. So these are not these are not pictures in my mind. Well, they are, but I'm obviously expressing myself from a previous time that we had, and something has occurred in these previous times which has meant that we've returned this time to sort it out once and for all, and one or the other is giving karma to each other. So I don't know if she's giving karma to me, so I'm getting karma for something I've done in a previous life, or she's getting karma. This is the very part I don't understand. This is the bit that's who's the one that's receiving karma? Or are we both receiving karma? Because it does seem highly unusual that we are so attracted to each other, yet deflect, just want to push each other away all the time. Well, at least that's the way I feel about her now. I want to push her away, as far away as possible, whereas she's always been pushing me away. So it's a running away, Somebody's running away and somebody's chasing, and then somebody's running away again and somebody else is chasing. Somebody else's turn to fall in love. the whole thing is an utter mystery. And but as I say, it's one part of it that seems to be rather strange in the highest degree. Is every time she does it, I always ascend. It's incredible. I always fall, and then I completely ascend, higher than where I was before. So if she's trying to do something to me to weaken my resolve, what she does is she keeps on making me stronger. So she needs to give up with this. This is not about personal attachment or relationship, a marriage bond or anything I'm talking about. I'm talking about this divine connection we seem to have, this sort of soul connection we seem to have, where it's the figure of 8, where we're away from each other and then we're close together at the centre of the 8. I shan't make this too long, because it probably is too long already. If she was in a position, if she could even comprehend the magnitude of the situation, well, at least I think she does. I think this is the whole point. She's quite clear about it. I think she knows in her heart exactly what she's doing. That's what makes me think that for some reason it must be some sort of karmic relationship we're having. Back and forth. Both always lose. Both always win. Maybe not all at the same time. But it's back and forth. Sometime I hope we do sit down over a glass of lemonade or some ginger beer or something and sit and chat on a sunny day for a couple of hours and just actually sit and chat without any animosity or any blame or any, anger or fear or hostility or conflict or anything. And we just sit and we talk until we make sense of every single thing. And if we come to an agreement that this is what we both think and believe, that day will be the day we both have peace completely for each other or from one another.